WarsawJS.
I'm 42 from Tel Aviv, Israel. I'm developer for almost the entire of my life, and I've been working on Amplication. It's an open source project. And today I'm going to show you Amplication. And I think the best thing to do is just share my screen and let's deep dive into it. I'll start with a quick demo just to show you the core, and then we can go slowly about the code and everything around it. So this is our homepage, amplication.com. Everybody can go there and sign in and start using the service. Basically, like I said, it's an open source project, so you can go to the GitHub repo and look on the code and everything. And I will talk about that soon. But let's start and start use the product. And let me tell you what it does. Basically, Amplication is a code generator that allows you to create a full blown Node.js application in minutes without writing any codes, and then you get from Amplication the entire source code so you can build on top of it, customize it, deploying and everything. So let's create a new project. I'll start from scratch, and I will get an empty project. And for the first demo, I will just go and use that project in order to use the CLI in order to create everything. So let's just give it name WarsawJS. And what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to connect this project to a GitHub repo because I want to sync all my code to GitHub. So I'll go here and I will create a repository with that name. It's going to be a public repository so everybody can even actually look on the generated code. So once I have that repository, I'll go back to Amplication and I'll click on sync with GitHub. Once that's done, I'm going to select that repo I just created and I'm ready to go. Now, there are a few ways to work with Amplication. We can use the UI, which you see here. We can go create entities and everything. But for that demo, I'm going to use the CLI. So I'm going to take that application ID I just have here, and I'll go to my VS Code, and I'll use the CLI in order to create the first application, and then we will have a look what we have. So this is a script I created already. We can see that this script going to create a customer entity with few fields, an address entity with some fields, a product entity, an image, an order, and that's it. This code, once it's going to run, we will generate a full-blown application for us. So the first command to run is just to connect to the app I just created. So I will take that and connect to that app. And Amplication CLI, of course, is a package you can download from NPM. And I have that app. You can see this is the app we just created, WarsawJS. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to run that command to run this file, create e-commerce app, and I'll just execute that. And what that code will do, it will just go step by step on those scripts, and we'll just execute them with the Amplication CLI through the API. So it created a customer entity, and we have that flag for set current to make sure that the next commands will use that entity. So we create first name, last name, email, and so on. We create the address. We set that as current, and then we add first name, last name, address, and so on. And once all the entity were created, we just execute another command called commit on the apps, which will commit everything we just did. So we see right now it's already committing, and it will commit everything we just did, and it will create all the code, and it will generate it and send it to GitHub. You see that's done. So if I'll go back now to Amplication, if I'll go just to show you the app we just created, WarsawJS, and we'll go to entities, and we see we have all those entities, address and customer and image and line item and everything we just created from Amplication CLI. We can see that, for example, to the customer, it has a first name and a last name and an email address, and of course, every one of those fields, we can select data types, like email is an email, and so on. And I have also relationship from customer to order. And if I'll go to the order entity, I can see I have the price and so on. So everything is here. Everything was created, you remember, from this script, but I can create everything manually on the UI. And the nice thing about it, if I will go right now here, I can see that there is a build that is running. Okay, the build is running. The app was generated. The code was pushed to GitHub. And right now, we're already starting seeing that we're building a Docker image from that application. And once the Docker image is done, we will see that we even deploy that to a sandbox environment so you can start working with it. So let's go to GitHub and let's see what happened. If I click on Open GitHub, it will take me to the pull request on the repo I just created. I see I have a pull request with 358 files. I will not go all of them right now. I'll just merge that because this is our first commit. And I'll go to the code tab. And I can see we have the server. We have an admin UI. If I'll go to the server, we can see we have all the code. And I'll open that in a VS Code in a second. And we can explore the code. We can see everything we generated. But this is a full-blown Node.js application. So it works with Prisma. I saw that Prisma are kindly sponsoring your community, which is really nice and great. And I love Prisma. So for example, we can look on the schema Prisma file, and we can see all the entities we created, the user, the customer, the address, product, all the relationship, everything is here. So instead of writing everything manually, we just get everything out of the box with Amplication. So what I will do now, I will go here, and let's clone that repo. And I'll go to VS Code, and I'll just open a new instance of VS Code. And let's connect to that repository we just created. And let's keep it here. And if I'll open that, we see this is the code we received from the GitHub repo. So like I mentioned, we have the server with Prisma. We have the source folder with all the entities. Each one of the entities, we can see we have, for example, the model with all the types and everything and all the attribute. By the way, we use in our stack, we use Node.js, of course. We use Nest.js as a web framework. We use Prisma and PostgreSDB in a Docker, which I will show you in a second how we can deploy it. And everything is generated for you. You can just go and start using that. So we have the customer model. We see that. We see the resolver, for example, a customer resolver with all the GraphQL API to create a customer, to get a customer, to update a customer. And not only that, we can see even all the relationships. So for example, we can see that we can get the orders of a customer. So everything is generated for us. We can just start using it. So in order to use it, what we need to do, I'll go here for a second just to show you that. But basically, just few small steps. But if I'll go to docsamplication.com, we have a document that explains us how to generate everything. So what we need to do, we need to go and run npm install and then dockerdb and all that. So we will go back to our application and we'll do that. So first thing to do is to go to the server folder and we will run npm install. At the same time, I will already open a new folder and go to the admin UI. We'll run npm install here also. So once the server will complete, you can see, let's open the package JSON on the server. We can see we have the scripts ready for us. So for example, okay, it's done. So we're ready. What we will do now, we will run dockerdb in order to create our Postgres Docker in order to start using the application. So everything is already ready for us. We will just run that. The dockerdb is running. We can even go and look on our Docker dashboard. And we can see on, oh wait, it's on the other screen. Never mind. So let me just, never mind. But trust me, you have a Docker running right now with the server. Right now, what we can do next, what we should do next, is running Prisma generate in order to populate the database with all the Prisma schema of our application. Once it's done, we can run db init in order to populate the initial data, like admin user and so on. I will just let him overwrite previous database I used. So Prisma manage everything for us really, really easily. Once that's done, what I need to run is just, I will run the server. That's it. I'm ready. I can just click on start watch on the server. And the same thing I can do on the admin UI. So I'm assuming that the admin UI also completed. This is the server. This is the admin UI completed successfully. I can row and run the admin UI. Now I have the admin and the server running. So if I will go, and this is the admin on the localhost 3001, I can also open our server with GraphQL and REST API, by the way, on 3000. And everything is ready for us to use. So if I'm going to have a look on the docs, we can see we have all the mutation and all the queries on the entities we created, on the address and customer and user and everything. And if I'll go here to the admin, give it a second to build. Once it's ready, you can see that we even get a client built with React admin. We can start using our server. I'm going to take a second, so I'll let him have a second. Before we do that, maybe let's, all right, here it is. It's ready. You can see this is our app we just created, WarsawJS. Let me just sign out and show you that I can easily sign in with a default user admin. All right, and I can start using my application. So for example, I go and create a customer. So I will say on the comment hello, the email going to be Yuval, first name Yuval Hazaz, and the phone number going to be this one. And I'm going to save it. And I'll go back to the customer list and I see the customers. And I can go and create a product, and I can go and create addresses and images. And of course, I even have relationships. So if I'm going to create a product, I'm going to see the list of orders for the customers right here on the orders tabs and everything. So everything is generated for us out of the box. We are ready to go. And you saw it was few minutes. So for example, let me show you another scenario, how we use the UI. So if I'll go back here, by the way, I'm not sure if I have any question. I'm not seeing the view, so let me know if you have any question. But of course, we can have the question later. But let's go back to our app. And like I mentioned, we are preparing the Docker image on the server, and we're also deploying that app. So same thing we saw here locally with the UI that is running on our dev server. In few minutes, it usually takes about 3 to 5 minutes to deploy. We will see that we're going to have an endpoint on the internet. Basically, we use GCP. We use Google Cloud. We're going to get an endpoint online to start using our app on a sandbox environment. So we can, assuming you build an application, a native application, iOS or Android, or you build any client, web client, and you want to start using the API, GraphQL API, any Jamstack you're using, you can immediately start using the server and developing with that server. So it's really easy. Now let's see another thing. Let's go back here and let's go back to customer. And let's say I want to add another phone number. Let's add phone 2. And it's going to be a single line text. I want it to be maybe required or not. It doesn't really matter. And let's click here, add phone. And I'm going to create another commit. We can even compare the changes. We can see we just added a new field on that long definition of our entity. And I'm going to commit those changes. And what will happen now, we're going to see another transaction running, another commit, another build session starting. The code is generated. Once it's generated, it is going to be pushed to GitHub. So now it's ready. It's on GitHub. I'm going to click on Open GitHub. And I'm going to see a new pull request number 2, with 19 file changed. And we see that on the customer the entity, we have phone number 2. And on the create input, we have phone number 2 and all that. So Amplication changed 19 different files for you just by adding one field, including the Prisma schema, including everything. So everything is ready for us. All we need to do is just go here and commit that change. And assuming right now I'll go back to my application, or is our application right there? All I need to do is git pull, and I'm getting all the code to my app, and everything is ready for us. So that's really amazing. That's really, really time saving. You get everything in seconds. So a few more things I want to show you. I'm having like 5 more minutes to show you. So I'm just going to mention in few words few more things I want to mention. So first thing is we also have another layers of roles. So we can add roles here. So for example, we have a user and a manager, an admin, and so on. And I can go back to my entities and I can set permissions. So for example, everybody can view customer, but not all roles. Only maybe managers and admin can create customer and so on. So you can easily set permission on top of our application. And of course, the generated code will handle that gracefully and really, really nicely. This is one thing I want to mention. Second thing I want to do in the next 5 minutes, I want to go through the code we generated. And let's talk about the option for customization. And I know it's too much maybe for this short session, but I will use that opportunity to mention we have a Discord channel almost with more than 300 developers that actively asking questions and talking about applications. So if you have any question, you are more than welcome to join us there, and I'll be happy to answer any question. So let's go have a look on the server. And I just want to show you one small concept we have in order to allow. So I see a question here on the screen. How many applications already using that solution? How you monetize it? So we already have more than 3,000 registered users, many of them just experimenting. But we have more than 50, I would say, real applications that are already built and businesses that using it for internal apps and small POCs and then startups and so on. Right now we are not monetizing, but the idea is to build a commercial company business around the open source project. So we're going to offer some hosting services and maybe some business feature with paid subscription, but everything is open and everything is open source and free for the community now and forever. Thank you for the question. So let me show you that concept I mentioned. And usually you get that app, but you want to write business logic. You want to write something. You want to add custom logic. So how would you do that? So if you notice, when we generate the folders for the entities, we have this structure of customer with a base folder and then some other files outside of the base folder. So everything in the base folder will be regenerated by application every time you make changes on your model. So you add fields, you change things, everything will be regenerated. But if you want to override something, so for example, I want to override some logic on the customer creation. So you see that the customer service is extending customer service base. We use inheritance here. So you can do that easily here. So if I'll take that example from here, I'll just copy that and let's paste it here. So you see right now this class is empty. I just have the constructor and nothing more than that. But what I did here, I created another function called create, which take the exact same signature, the exact same parameters like the best Prisma customer create. And what we do here, we just changing maybe some of the arguments, and we call directly Prisma, or instead of calling directly Prisma, we can even use super, sorry. You can even use super, create, args, and just pass that to the base class. And this way we can change our arguments, adding everything we want, doing whatever we want, and then decide what we want to do. We can call the super in order to let application use the generated code, or maybe we can create anything we want. Same thing we can do with the resolver, and same thing we can do with the controller for the REST API. if I want to add more endpoints for our REST API, if I want to add more queries or mutation to our resolver, I can easily do that here. And everything I do here will not be overwritten by Amplication. So you can keep generating models and changes from Amplication, and your custom code is safe. It will not be overridden. I think that summarized everything I wanted to show today. Really quick. I know it's a lot. And I do have some 3 minutes for questions, so feel free.
Congratulations, Yuval. Awesome, awesome presentation, and I'm really encouraged to check how this tool works.
Thank you.
Can you tell me how much time does it cost to build something like this? Because as I understood, you built this from scratch, right?
We are working on that for the last 15, 16 months, maybe, almost a year and a half. Myself, my partner, and we had like a couple of employees that work with us on that for about half of the time. This is more or less. We didn't create everything from scratch. Of course, we use Nest.js, we use Prisma, we use a lot of frameworks to generate the code, but the entire platform, it was generated from scratch by ourselves. Yeah.
Amazing. All right, so we have a question. Gone Drone asks us, is the use case controller the place to put business logic in Amplication?
So yeah, you have the base controller and you have the base resolver, which we will generate, but you have the one that inherit whether you can put business logic. You can go also to docsamplication.com. There is a document that explains how to add custom business logic on each one of the layers. But yeah, the idea is the use case, if you want to add custom logic, you will add that to the controller, resolver, or service or on the entity folder.
Okay, awesome. I think this answers the question. And I can't see any more questions. So thanks a lot, Yuval. I hope you're going to join us on our networking session. And again, congratulations for a great presentation. It's going to be on YouTube published, of course. So if you also can share your slides at WarsawJS Slack, it will be also awesome.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And see you later on the next session.